Welcome to the Divine Style Podcast with Gerlinda, Stella, personal stylist and self-love coach, and Alison, Maiden, psychic medium, spiritual healer and metaphysical teacher. Each episode you'll experience spiritual lessons to cultivate self-love and self-expression so you can become the best version of you.
Hi, I'm Gerlinda.
And I'm Alison.
Today we are talking about Reiki healing and spiritual growth. Now, I love Reiki. It's one of those things that I was introduced to very young. When I was about 16, I found that I had a breast lump. Thank goodness it wasn't cancerous, but it was growing at a really fast rate and they had to operate.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctors said that it was about the size of a golf ball at this stage. And they said if they didn't operate, that it would just continue to grow, the type of growth that it was. And a gentleman where I worked, he said that he did Reiki and offered to do this healing on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never heard of it before. And I thought, well, I'll try anything at this stage because I was really scared to have surgery. And so for 3 months, he would come over and do these beautiful healings on me. And over time, I could start to feel that the lump was shrinking and it was getting smaller and smaller. But my mum at the time was still very nervous about the whole situation and encouraged me to still get the surgery just in case it could turn into something bad. And so I had the surgery done, and when I came out of the surgery, they said, oh, the ultrasound was wrong because that was only the size of a marble. You didn't need to have the surgery.
There you go.
Incredible. At the time, I didn't really understand what the healing was. And since meeting you, you are a Reiki master, teacher, trainer. And it's incredible. I've been through it myself, but I would love you to explain what is Reiki and how does it work?
Reiki is unconditional love. Basically, it's energy that is from source and that you are attuned by a Reiki master to receive this energy. And not only does it heal you, but it also heals others that you put your hands on or that you're thinking of. It's an energy that is so pure and so beautiful that when you're actually receiving the healing, it kind of wraps you up in this beautiful pink bubble and you feel so loved and so appreciated that it can lift those negative energies off of you that are causing any illness or despair, emotional despair. I found Reiki to be something completely unique. I used to do spiritual healing when I was young, and being a psychic all of my life, it's just part and parcel of what we did. We did hands-on healing with people, and that was using my own energy. That was using what I had. I used to find myself tired and sometimes really grumpy after I did healings on people, like I'd take on their emotions and that sort of thing. They'd walk off feeling great, but I was feeling terrible afterwards, and it got me to a point where I didn't want to do it anymore, and I felt really sad about that because I really wanted to help people.
So you're a bit exhausted.
Yeah, it was draining. It would make me feel also a little bit sort of resentful in some ways that I'm giving and I'm not getting anything in return, Not that I suppose my younger me might have thought that to be able to help other people is a wonderful thing. But I just had this feeling of I don't want to do it. You're not appreciating what I'm doing for you. And it became almost a bit of a toxic situation for me. And I didn't like it at all. So one day I was talking to a friend about this, and he said to me, have you ever heard of Reiki? And I said, oh, yeah, everyone does that. I'm not doing that. And it was like, it's just one of those fads that'll, pass. And we're talking about 1980s, 1990s. And he said, no. He said, you should really try it. So I thought, oh, well, why not? And he said, look, I'm going to go and do a course. Why don't you come with me? And so I went with him, and no expectations at all. And I sat in this very large group. There was about 25 people in this group, and we supposedly were going to get this attunement to something called Reiki. And the teacher was lovely, and he came out and he was explaining how Reiki is an ancient form of healing that was rediscovered in the 1900s by a physician in Japan called Dr. Usui. And he used to sneak out and watch peasants at night put their hands on each other when they were sick, and he was very fascinated by this. Anyway, because of his wonderful energy and the fact that he was such a good man and that he was able to help so many people in his lifetime, he was actually blessed with rediscovering Reiki through deep meditation that he took on a mountaintop. I mean, it sounds a bit cliche, but it really happened that way. And he was also a Buddhist, a monk as well. So he went up to the mountaintop, he meditated and fasted for 23 days, and then at the end of that, he received these symbols. And he describes that they came into his mind like big pink bubbles of light, and the symbols were just stuck in his mind and he couldn't get them out. Anyway, he came down the mountain and he was very driven to attune, meaning put the symbols over the top of someone's head. And so he did that with other masters, and he was attuning these masters, and then he sent them out to teach and attune. And that's basically how Reiki started. Now, considering that was, quite a few years ago now, over 100 years ago, and Reiki has spread pretty much like wildfire throughout the world, there's something to it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So after I did my attunement that day, my mind was blown. Everything was so much clearer, my intuition and my psychic abilities. I felt great. The more I healed others, I was healed at the same time, because Reiki works that way. It heals the channel first and then it's passed on to the person that you're healing. So the more you heal, the more you get healed. And it's a never-ending supply of love.
It's just beautiful. And the energy of Reiki is that you do feel like you're wrapped in that beautiful warm blanket, and there's something, it always sounds so magical though, doesn't it? But you hear so many stories of when people have hurt themselves and they just put them, their hand over the top of a serious cut or something like that, and it's closed up. I mean, and we do this naturally with our children, come here, I'll put my hand on it and I'll kiss it better.
Yes.
And to have that as an adult, it's actually quite a nice thing to have somebody, so it's like, come here and I'll make you feel better with that love.
Exactly. And I think too, we underestimate the capacity of our bodies to heal. And what blocks that, of course, is the negative thinking and negativity in itself, being in toxic relationships, in toxic environments at work. I've had people say to me, I get a headache all day, every day when I have to go to work. I'm like, well, that's because work is so toxic. You walk in there and you're immediately feeling the energy of it. It's making you tense. It's tensing up all your muscles. It's giving you headaches. And they went, oh, of course. After I taught them Reiki, and I said, look, you've got to learn to shield yourself. You can use the Reiki symbols to put a shield around you that will stop the negative energy from reaching you. It'll still be there, but it just doesn't reach you. The headaches go away. So it's really amazing, isn't it? How these people are saying, I can't believe it. It's such a simple thing, but yet it works. So over the years, I've been doing Reiki for over 20 years now. I've been teaching it for about 18 years. There's a lot to be said for the amount of times that people have come back to me and said, this has completely changed my life. And I wouldn't have continued on in my studies and I've done all of the aspects of Reiki that is possible to do. So I'm a teacher in 3 modalities. And once you have sort of travelled that road and you've gone through the basic Reiki and then you move up to the next level and then the next level, you start to feel changes in yourself that you never thought were possible. I can only say that it's enhanced my psychic and mediumship abilities incredibly over the years, to the point now where I'm, I do shows in front of people, radio, television. Nothing seems to worry me anymore. I don't fear judgment of others. Of course, there's always going to be people that hate you. That's just the way life is. But
can't be liked by everyone. I had to learn that lesson.
Yeah, but it doesn't worry me. I'm not on that path. They're not on my path. If they want to cross my path, there's a reason why they're shown who I am. That's for them, because I'm certainly not getting anything out of what they're giving me. I'm, not taking that on board, because I'm surrounded by love all the time. And so it's very important, I think, that if it does bother you, with Reiki, it'll bother you for 5 minutes,
Very true.
It's just, you can give yourself healing and think, I'm over that now. I don't need that. And then give that person healing, sending love to the other person that's obviously hurting enough to want to hurt you.
Yes, the projection.
Mm-hmm.
I know for myself, since having my Reiki 1 attunement with you, which was last year, that was a huge shift for me. I think it really opened me up to feeling more subtle energies that I wasn't necessarily aware of. And I think people talk about energy a lot, and I definitely became more aware of what different energies, not only people, but rooms and situations, and what that felt like. And then going through Reiki too, and then to doing my Reiki Masters a few weeks ago, I am so surprised but so in awe and so grateful for how much it has opened up my psychic ability and my psychic awareness. And because I've been able to clear and shift and move a lot of those energies within myself that were holding me back in terms of blocks, because when we're upset about day-to-day life, it's very easy to get caught up in the drama of that and miss the other energies that are around us that are guiding us and shaping life in the way that we want it to be. And so life becomes a choice, not a chore.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think, people don't realise how powerful that Reiki can be. I find a lot of people scoff when I talk about Reiki, and I just go, okay, well, try it for yourself, because you're not going to know until you try, And I suppose you'd found the same thing, is that when you were, not that you ever scoffed at it, but when you were coming into it, you probably weren't expecting the amount of change that happened to you.
No, because being on the receiving end of Reiki is very different to having the attunement. So being on the receiving end, it is extremely relaxing. Some people do say that they get images or see colours or things like that, when you're having a healing done. And I know for me it's a beautiful, just to have that hands-on healing is incredible. But to be the one that's channeling the energy was a very different experience and a very different feeling. And I think one of the ways that when we'd spoken about it, I would always get really hot hands and my hands would feel tingly whenever I meditated. And you said that's energy healing.
Yeah.
That's coming through you. And I think that's a really amazing thing for people to know. If you do get those, almost like sweaty palms, but not necessarily, it can be little tingles or the warming up when you're in meditation, that's that energy flowing through you. But not knowing what to do with that energy. Like now I can sit and literally I play with it like a ball in between my hands. And and as soon as I mention Reiki, my hands start,
it'll switch
up.
on. Yeah.
So as we're here right now, my hands are like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
And that has been really, it's just so beautiful. And like you say, that energy shift is amazing. And then I went on to do Seishem with you. And that is just goddess energy.
It's
so
the feminine
beautiful.
aspect, which is beautiful. It's Egyptian in origin, and was rediscovered in the 1980s in the Great Pyramid in Egypt. And that, I found Seishem for me was so amazing and enlightening, because I have such a strong Egyptian connection. All through my life, even as a child, I used to draw pyramids, and all of my history, projects at school would always be on Egypt, and there was always that real strong pull towards it. I learnt later in life that I'd had many incarnations there, and lots of incarnations that I think were about the healing and all the ancient technologies that we now miss. And we talked about aliens before, and we know that, Egypt was not built by humans, the pyramids especially. So there's a lot of connection there to ancient knowledge and healing knowledge that has been lost to us. Because, these days it's like we'll take a pill to fix it. We can actually heal ourselves and fix things that pharmaceuticals can't fix. So I think it's important for people to recognise that there's a place for modern medicine, absolutely 100%. I mean, gosh, I was a paramedic for like 10 years, so I know that medicine's important. But I also know if you back it up with alternative therapies, especially something like Reiki, which can only enhance and help what's going on in your healing process, then, there's no contraindications to Reiki at all. No. It's pure and it's clean, and it doesn't hurt you. It can only help. Even the most hardened skeptics, after they've had a Reiki healing, will say, that was relaxing. That's what we normally get. But, relaxing's good.
Relaxing is good, and often we don't take time out just to do that.
No, and they don't realise what's happening on the deeper levels of them anyway. So, I've had grown men cry, and bring things up from years ago when they lost someone or their childhood, and it helps to release all these old blocks that people hold inside of themselves, and that stops them from moving forward on any level, you know. I think everything comes back to love, really.
I agree. Everything does come back to love, and we do live in such a fearful world with everything around us that is saying to us, watch out for this, be careful of this, and we're in that fight or flight mode all the time, and that adrenaline is pumping through us, and having something that is just the complete opposite of that, which is unconditional love,
yes,
is so amazing. And I just can't praise Reiki enough. And like I said, I from when I was very young, I was fortunate enough to never actually be skeptical, because I did have the experience for myself, and I saw my lump in my breast go down and felt it, and then had medical doctors say that I wish back then I'd thought to ask for the ultrasounds, you know, to get it tested. It would have been great to be able to show, because these things don't just disappear. I mean, you hear stories of people healing themselves from all sorts of illnesses, and it is our own. This is what I loved about what you said about Reiki. It's that we can heal ourselves.
Yeah, look, what it is really is that the body heals. The body is meant to heal. That's what it does. I mean, do you know you get a whole new eyeball in 2 days? Your cells are constantly dying and renewing. And when it comes down to understanding that, you know, we can generate our own body healing at an enormous rate. We can make that go faster, a bit like Wolverine, you know, by removing any negative blocks that might be there, and really believing in that healing process. And human beings are capable of miraculous things. They just don't realise it. They've been told that they're not.
And our bodies do listen to us, and they can hear when we're talking negatively, and they can hear when we're talking positively. I know a while back I was going on a run down a hill, and I probably wasn't in the best frame of mind, but I fell and hurt my ankle quite badly, and it was swollen for a few weeks. But in that moment, I recognised how amazing my body was to have that capacity to swell up, to do that, and to start creating the healing. And instead of in the past where I might have gone stupid ankle or stupid leg or stupid me, I was just full of love for my body, and so grateful that my body could heal itself. And sure, I had got to put my feet up for a couple of days, but instead of feeling guilty, I soaked it up. So I said to my family, pour me a drink. And it was a much more beautiful way to spend those couple of weeks whilst it repaired, just loving myself through that process, as opposed to, being angry at my body. I mean, we do this sometimes when we've got aches and pains, don't we? We kind of get annoyed with that part of ourselves.
Yeah. There's actually a great book out, if anyone wants to grab it. It's called The Body is the Barometer of the Soul. And it was written by an Australian healer called Wendy Noontil. She's a Western Australian lady. I found that to be a terrific book, because it covers things like, you know, all your aches and pains. You know, if you've got a pain here, a pain there, it tells you the reason behind the pain, you know, and it gives you an opportunity to sort of have a look at your life and go, oh yeah, I have been harbouring, you know, bad feelings on that, so no wonder I have a pain in my neck, or, you know. But it's I suppose in a little way it's a bit logical, but she does come up with some really wonderful ways or ways of releasing it as well in the book. But Reiki is one of the most gentle ways I know of releasing blocks and releasing energies that will stop you from moving forward. There's quite a few healing modalities out there, but Reiki has got a big history. It's a long history of success with helping other healing modalities help you as well. So, for instance, massage probably is one of the most common ones. A lot of massage therapists will also do Reiki, because it makes the client feel very relaxed and gives them a fantastic feeling while they're being massaged, you know. I've also mixed Reiki with other modalities that I do as well. I do past life regression therapy with the laws of karma. I'm able to send symbols to the person while they're going through the healing process to help with that, so that they're not as traumatized from things that they might be seeing or feeling. Or if they are seeing things that they have to see, they feel safe in that moment. They feel wrapped up in love, and so they're able to release it rather than go through that whole really traumatic experience. So it does enhance and help a lot of other modalities as well. But the one I love the most, of course, is Karuna. Karuna Reiki is like mind-blowing.
To ask this.
You haven't done that yet.
I haven't done that one yet. So
Yeah.
we've got Usui Reiki, and
Yep.
then we have the Seishem, also pronounced, sometimes people say
Sekem.
Sekem. Yep. And then there's Karuna.
And Karuna,
So
yes.
tell me what the difference is with Karuna.
Karuna, once again, a more modern form of Reiki, but it's I say that the symbols are like the ancient alphabet of the universe. So each symbol holds within it energy. It can mean different things as well, depending on how you apply it. So there is a symbol that sends healing back in time, forward in time, and across distance, for instance. Now, you can apply that in lots of different ways. You might send healing to a situation that's coming up for you, a job interview or a bank interview for a loan, or something that you really want to happen in your life. You can send energy to that, but you use the same symbol to send energy back to the past to heal any sort of past life blocks or situations that might have harmed you that are affecting you now. So you can see you use the same symbol but different intent. So with each symbol that comes up, we add to that alphabet. We add to that little mix of I call it tools, tools of the trade. And so we have our little toolbox. And as we move on with our knowledge and we start to use it for different aspects of life, we then can apply those symbols in different ways. Now, I do teach Reiki differently to some people, and the traditional Reiki, I'm totally on that. If you guys want to do traditional Reiki, that's fantastic and go for it. I, however, do a more modern form of Reiki, which teaches you how to use your intuition with it. So we use the symbols in a very positive intent way, but we can use them to access things that other Reiki won't teach you how to use. I think I've upset a few people with that, but you know what? It's evolution. I see it as evolution.
Look, and I think that that's what you say. It is an intuitive type. Well, it is an intuitive healing. And so to be able to teach people not only through learning Reiki in that particular way, it also teaches you to trust your intuition on your own and help you build your own way of doing things. So it doesn't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to necessarily follow a script. You can find what works for you and for the clients if you are a Reiki practitioner.
Yeah, absolutely right. So Karuna gives us that whole new level of understanding, and it deals with symbols that can help with things like addictions, self-harming or self-loathing. It gives a very succinct picture on how we can apply that symbol to a certain situation in someone's life. So the symbols become a lot more specific for certain things, and each time you go up a level, you get more symbols. So there's more and more to learn, which is, I love learning. It's one of my things, I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly reading, constantly researching things. And I check things out thoroughly before I teach them in my workshops. If I haven't done it or don't understand it, then I won't be teaching it.
I'm very addicted to learning too. It's like you end up doing all this research and you can go so far down that rabbit hole. It's incredible. But
my gosh, yeah.
I have learnt so much, but like I said, I've just opened up my mind so much to being able to not focus on the little stuff that was maybe, annoying me or frustrating me, those sorts of things. Like you said, you may be annoyed for a couple of minutes and it's gone. It doesn't really exist because there's other things that you can focus on, and you can use those symbols and that energy to shift your own energy and those around you, which is incredible too. I have really noticed that the people around me. The other thing I've noticed too with the energy stuff, and I'm sure there'd be people listening feel the same way, you just know when you can't stand another person's energy. And I think, like you said at the start, it is that being able to shield yourself from those energies so you're not absorbing them or taking them on. And we've spoken in your courses about having, energy vampires.
Unfortunately, they are out there. Absolutely. So it can give you a way of protecting yourself, which is quick and easy, can be done anywhere. You don't have to sort of think about big rituals of, hopping in the shower and white lighting yourself and all that, which is great, by the way, if you want to do that at the end of the day. But say you need something, a quick fix, we do have symbols that can actually activate that energy straight away. So it feels to me like people that come and do my courses, it gives them a way of doing something that's meaningful for them, that they can understand, that can apply it to their life, that they can actually make a difference or a change. And one thing that's so important is being able to send energy across distance, because a lot of people, especially these days, are away from their families. They're not able to access their families. My gosh, I know so many people that have got families in nursing homes, and terrible things that have happened in the past couple of years has led them to not be able to contact them, and they're terribly worried. So just the fact that they can send energy to them, it gives them some level and degree of comfort, I think.
Yeah, you feel like you're doing something,
Yeah.
especially for all the helpers out there that do.
Yes.
Everyone loves helping. And I think this is actually a really positive form of helping, because you're not actually interfering in anybody else's karma or their lessons. You're literally doing it from a higher place of love.
Absolutely.
It's really amazing. And if somebody is looking to do Reiki, it doesn't mean that you actually have to be a practitioner either. You can do this for yourself. So you can go through your Reiki 1 and 2, and you can do your master level just for your own learning and understanding as well. And if somebody would love to come through, they can go to AlisonMaiden.com. You've got all of your courses on there. Whereabouts because one thing about Reiki is you do have to have your attunement in person, so it's not something that can be done.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, because I've had so many people say, I did mine for $49.95 on the internet. No, you didn't. You were ripped off. Reiki attunement happens hands-on from a master, and as you know yourself, you're not going to get the same benefit unless you're sitting with somebody and you're actually getting that tuition. You have to be taught how to use the energy as well, and how to protect yourself from, healing others, because you're going to be giving healing to people who have got problems. So there's a whole lot of other things to learn about. It's beautiful to think that you can just, be that healer and put your hands on people, and it's definitely a miraculous thing to do. But there's your own safety, there's your spiritual hygiene, as we talk about all the time. There's understanding, of course, what the people are seeing. For instance, if someone says to you, I saw blue and I saw red, I had these amazing colours when you were healing me, and you'll be like, that's nice. But you have no idea what that means. So I also teach about the chakras, about the different colours, what they mean. I think it's really important to have that knowledge if you're going to be healing people, to be able to pass on, this is the message in that. You have a colour, it means there's a message there. I think too, the awakening of people's psychic awareness is also a really, really important thing at the moment. This whole planet needs to wake up.
Yes, it does. And I like I said, I just can't praise it enough. I've really, really loved that energy, and I've loved being able to love myself through learning it, and definitely opening up my spiritual, even guides, and, get to dream. I have the most magnificent dreams, and it's just bringing in so much beautiful, positive energy. And that is really the magic of Reiki, I think.
Yeah, it's a marvellous tool. So get on it. We do lots of courses. We do them around Australia. But I also have wonderful trainers and teachers that I have taught over the years in different states as well. So if you'd like somebody's name, we can usually put you onto someone that's close by to you.
They can contact you through AlisonMaiden.com to get in touch with your amazing assistant, Melinda.
She is amazing.
Who will give you the names of people in your area if you would like to have a Reiki healing, or if you would like to learn more about the Reiki courses.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Divine Style Podcast. Please follow, share and tune in weekly for more spiritual and self-love guidance. You can find out more and ask questions at gerlinda.com.au and AlisonMaiden.com.